Not just using advanced technology, they're manipulating the fundamental forces that bind reality together. If they continue on this trajectory, they could unravel entire star systems, Kexthara finished, her voice barely above a whisper. The tactical display updated again, showing Federation fleets across 17 sectors in full retreat. The humans weren't pursuing them aggressively, but wherever they encountered resistance, the results were catastrophic. Ships didn't explode, they simply ceased to exist, as if reality had been edited to remove them from the equation. "They're heading for the galactic core," the navigation officer reported, his usually steady voice cracking. "If they reach the Nexus." The Nexus, the artificial construct at the galaxy's heart that maintained the delicate balance of forces keeping billions of star systems stable. If the humans could manipulate that. "Send word to all Federation worlds," Kexthara commanded, her decision crystallizing with desperate clarity. "Full evacuation protocols. Tell every species, every colony, every outpost, the children of Earth, remember their heritage, the sealed ones walk among the stars again." As the Zephyrian Ascendant turned away from human space, its massive engines straining to achieve distances that might offer safety, Kexthara reflected on the hubris that had brought them to this moment. They had seen humanity as a primitive species, ripe for conquest, never realizing they were poking at the sleeping descendants of gods. Behind them, the human fleet continued its inexorable advance, reality bending around vessels that existed as much in possibility as in physical space. The galaxy would never be the same. The sealed had awakened, and the stars themselves trembled at their approach. In the depths of space, ancient protocols continued to activate within human minds across the fleet, unlocking memories that spanned cosmic ages and capabilities that had been deliberately forgotten for the safety of the universe itself. The children of Earth had come home to reclaim their dominion over the infinite dark. The silence in the monitoring station on Kepler 442b stretched like a taut wire, broken only by the soft hum of quantum processors analyzing the data stream that had just arrived from the Sol system. Senior communications analyst Zixandra of the Altarian Collective stared at the holographic display with her 6 optical sensors, each one registering a different spectrum of the electromagnetic cascade that had reached them after traveling 1,200 light-years through the cosmic void. "Run the analysis again," she commanded, her telepathic emanations tinged with disbelief. The subordinate technicians, a mix of crystalline Vorthon and gaseous nebular entities, complied without question, their instruments humming back to life. For decades, the Galactic Monitoring Network had been tracking the primitive civilization on the third planet, orbiting the yellow dwarf star humans called Sol. Earth's inhabitants had been classified as level 2.3 on the Kardashev civilization scale, barely capable of harnessing their own planet's energy, let alone reaching for the stars in any meaningful way. They were scheduled for first contact protocols in approximately 847 standard galactic years, once they had matured enough to join the greater cosmic community without cultural shock. That timeline had just been obliterated. The signal originated from Earth's lunar satellite, reported technician Morthak, his crystalline form refracting the display's light into prismatic patterns. Initial transmission appeared to be their standard electromagnetic communications, what they call radio waves. But then, Zixandra's consciousness recoiled as the processed data materialized in the holographic space. What had begun as routine human chatter-weather reports, entertainment broadcasts, military communications, had suddenly transformed into something that defied every xenobiological principle in the collective's databases. The last transmission wasn't words. It wasn't even recognizable as language. It was a scream that had somehow transcended the limitations of electromagnetic spectrum, carrying with it psychic resonances that had registered on quantum consciousness detectors across 17 different star systems. The waveform analysis showed patterns that shouldn't have been possible for a species that hadn't even developed reliable faster-than-light communication. "Show me the timeline again," Zixandra ordered, her mental voice steady, despite the growing unease permeating her consciousness. The holographic display shifted, revealing a chronological breakdown of events as observed from their distant vantage point. At 14:37 Universal Standard Time, routine human transmissions had been flowing normally. At 14:38, the signals had begun to distort. By 14:39, something had happened that the monitoring equipment struggled to categorize. The humans were conducting what they called a deep space listening project, explained Dr. Velkris, the station's xenopsychologist, her ethereal form materializing through quantum fold communication from the collective's home world. "Our preliminary analysis suggests they were attempting to detect extraterrestrial intelligence using primitive radio telescopes." Zixandra's optical sensors focused intently on the data, and they found something. More accurately, Dr. Velkris corrected, something found them. The transmission logs showed the sequence of events with terrifying clarity. The humans had been broadcasting their location, their mathematical understanding, their cultural artifacts into the cosmos for decade-standard behavior, for emerging civilizations seeking contact. But on this day, something had answered. The response hadn't come through normal space. The signal had materialized directly within Earth's atmosphere, bypassing every known law of physics governing electromagnetic propagation. Worse still, it had carried information that the human consciousness wasn't equipped to process. "The scream," Zixandra whispered, her mental emanations barely perceptible. It wasn't just terror. It was recognition. The analysis was undeniable. In the microseconds before Earth's transmissions had ceased entirely, the humans had encountered something that had fundamentally altered their understanding of reality. The psychic resonance embedded in that final transmission carried the unmistakable signature of minds that had been exposed to cosmic truths too vast for their neural architecture to contain. "We're detecting massive electromagnetic anomalies throughout the Sol system," reported another technician, his gaseous form shimmering with anxiety. "Something is interfering with our long-range sensors. We're getting readings that suggest alterations to local spacetime."